we were all in bed.
Yeah.
And Robert is the baby. And I think Robert and me and John slept together in one bed. And Robert then
No, Susan offered me something.
looks up
She
at
already
Frank,
told me.
and Frank says, Robert, get up, get out of here. Let me drag you out from under these timbers here. No. And Robert says, his comment to Frank was, Frank, light the lamp so I can see how to get out of here. He was up big enough to talk, you know.
Yes,
Because he was just about 2 or 3 years old, wasn't he?
The thing I really remember about
it was
the
during
tornado more than anything
Oh,
is
yeah.
everything.
the neighbors
was
that
black.
we're talking about. I remember I had
were
on
telling.
a little half shirt
Well, they're related
that I was
to
sleeping in.
Here's it.
And
all
when,
of this junk
see, I
that
was
we're
7
talking about
years
is
old
related to
when that
you.
happened.
That's right.
And,
I like hearing the
So I
story.
didn't have
You
anything to
got a
cover up
few
my
of
modesty,
those
you know.
jeans.
So I finally found an old silk shawl
Pretty lucky.
blown out in the yard, you know. So I tied that thing around me. And then when, as Elizabeth was telling you a minute ago, when Papa lined us all up, and the power lines were down, they just had to put the new lines in for electricity there. And the power lines were down, those sparks flying all over the road and yard and everywhere from those live wires. And Papa then, as Elizabeth told you a minute ago, said, now everybody stay right in line behind me, and you walk in my steps. And it's just, I'll watch out for the live wires, you know, so to go to the neighbor's house. So we end up, and we traced Papa, followed him, and walking in his steps to get up to the neighbor's house, and half a mile. And so we got what we call the old road then, up to the Shootman's house. So they take us all in, you know. They take Papa and Mama and Elizabeth and me and all the way up from Frank on down. Frank was still at home at that time too. Frank got us all out, you know. And so there's 7 or 8 kids, you know, and Papa and Mama, 8 or 9. You just think if you went to the door here and knocked some night and found about 8 or 9 relatives there and said, we got to have a place to stay tonight. I mean, you think, we're going to come right in, you know. I mean, the nanny and them come right in, you know. So we all, here in the middle of the night to us is 9 o'clock at night then. But it's midnight to us because we all went to bed, you know, at 8 o'clock. But anyway, we get in and they realized what had happened down there to us, you know, and everything. So they started trying to round up clothes for all of us. Of course, they had Virginia Catherine, Elizabeth's size, you know, they're having trouble outfitting her in some decent clothes. And the thing about it, the girls were outfitted real quick, you know. But anyway, and Mr. Shootman then, he had old overhauls and stuff to where the big boys were able to get dressed all right. But what are we going to do for Joe? Because they had never had a kid, you know, in the house that would have any clothes that Joe would have anything that he could put on, you know. Nanny says, I'll take care of that. She goes up and digs in some trunk, and she finds, and how in God's world they ever had it, a little pair of overalls that just fit me perfectly at 7 years old, you know. And they'd never had a boy in that house that size, you know, to have those overalls. So they outfitted me with a pair of overalls in that house, too. You remember that?
Oh.
You ever heard the story about his first haircut?
Oh, I think somebody's told me that story about the
Yeah,
first
I've told
haircut.
that dozen times,
His
actually.
first haircut.
His haircut. I want to
Oh,
hear
yeah, that's
you.
when
You remember?
Yeah,
Do you remember the story about the haircut?
Yeah.
I was guilty.
You were guilty.
Elizabeth was, she could make you believe anything. I mean, she just, she'd make you believe anything. But she's always so innocent, you know, and everything. When Elizabeth say something, you thought, boy, that's it. That's fact.
Still doing
I'll follow
the
that.
same record with a
I'm
red light
glad
flash.
you thought I was innocent.
Well, you fooled me too, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
So what was it? Did you?
I'm sorry.
What was it
Pardon?
about the haircut? Did you didn't take him? Did you take him or you didn't take him?
Oh,
get his
no.
hair cut.
Well, you know about
Oh, I
haircut
took him
story.
to
Well,
get
that's what-
his.
Well, you see, when I was
He
little,
had beautiful curly
I had
hair.
these beautiful curls, you know. I looked as good then as I do now. I mean, I'm really gone. I haven't regressed much. But anyway, when I started to school, I've got these long curls, you know. Well, of course, kids like, you know, and they sissy this and sissy that, you know, and they begin to tease me. And so I went home and I told Mama, I said, got to get something done to this hair because they're driving me crazy. The other kids at school are all kidding, teasing me about this hair of mine, you know. And we're not cutting those curls. Mama was, damn it, she was not going to cut those curls off, you know. So I connived with Elizabeth. You see, I'm 5 years. I started school when I was 5, so I was 5 years old. Elizabeth was 6 or 7 then.
I guess.
Yeah, okay. So I connived with Elizabeth, and we went up to Nanny Shootman's house, who could cut hair. I mean, she
Nanny
not
cut
official,
hair.
but Nanny could cut hair, you know. So we go up there and tell Nanny that Mama has sent us up there to get Joe's, Elizabeth told her, she wants you to cut Joe's curls and cut his hair because they're teasing him in school. Oh, Nanny said, I'm not going to cut those curls off. Cassie would have a fit if I did that. She don't want those. Oh, yes, Elizabeth says she's the one sent us up here. She just lied like a dog. She says she sent us up here. So she's not going to have her little boy.
It's the first lie I ever told.
Yeah. Wasn't the only one. But anyway, she said she's not going to have her little boy teased at school with these curls, Nanny. And she sent us up here and told me to tell you to cut those things off, you know. So Nanny puts me in the chair, puts a towel around me, you know. Wham! She goes there and just makes me almost bald-headed. You know? So we go back home. Elizabeth hides. She hides. She nowhere around. And I'm always been the kind, if there's something ahead of me that I worry about, I want to confront it. I want to get it solved, you know. So I go to the kitchen, and Mama's over this wood stove, cook stove, cooking supper or something, you know. She's busy there at the stove, you know. So I go to the door, and I stick my head around the door, and I said, Mama, what do you want? Look here. I can't look, I'm busy. I said, yeah, you need to look. You look. So, and of course, Mama was always the kind that she could really put it on when she wanted to show that she is sad about something. She could
Great
good,
big
yeah, she's
tears
great.
flowed
Yeah.
down her face.
She looks, you know, and she said, oh, my little boy. Oh, where's his girlfriend? And she's crying and going on, you know.
And I hid.
She's hiding from it. Anyway, we weathered the storm, but then once I had to have her see it, you know, because I knew I just can't live with myself till ever she knows about it.
I love it.
But Elizabeth said she's one
You
to
corrected.
save,
You
she
corrected
saved
her.
me.
I hid out. I was
Oh, she hid. Elizabeth was about to face her.
my little boy. He came to have his hair. I could just hear her. My little boy.
Oh, my baby boy.
First lie
she
I
could
ever
do.
told.
Oh, man.
My mama could. She could put it. She's pretty good. She'd have made a good actress. I mean, she could act this thing out real well. You know. I remember the time that I came home and at school. I'm a big boy then. I'm up like freshman in high school, 8th grade or somewhere like that. And we had this dirty poem at school that somebody had printed out, you know, and it just wasn't a nice poem at all, you know. And so anyway, very sexy. The poem was very sexy. Let's put it that way. So anyway, we all the boys thought, boy, this is big time stuff, you know. So we all got a copy and stuck it in our pocket in our jackets, you know. And I end up, mine forgot to take it out of my jacket, and I put my jacket in the wardrobe. You remember that wardrobe we had?
Yeah.
And I put my jacket in that night, and the next day, Mama is cleaning out the wardrobe or something, and she sees it in the pockets, you know, and she finds this poem, you know, and calls me in out of the yard, you know, and she's taking on, you know, oh, my poor little boy, I never knew you ever knew words like this before, you know, and she's just making quite a production, and of course I'm embarrassed to death, you know. Never thought you ever even heard of words like this before, and here you are carrying it around in your jacket. Oh Lord, I could have died. I mean, I thought if the Lord wanted to be merciful with me, he'd have just taken me right then and got me out of there. You know?
Dirty words.
That's the growing up years for you, though.
Oh, man.
Hey, I gotta go.
I have to. I gotta go. I gotta go feed cats. We're still in the cat business.